Good afternoon, everyone. It's Coram and Shreve here with a look at the stock market for Thursday, March 30th, where we saw a follow-up on the follow-through, Ken.
Yes, we did. I think it was a pretty good session for stocks Thursday after that good sign of strength we saw in the indexes on Wednesday. Financial stocks did not participate today, but it was another day of outperformance for semiconductor stocks. So we'll take a look at ASML in the chip equipment group, also analog devices, a chip maker, and then in the enterprise software group, DoubleVerify, DV.
All right, well, a detailed analysis of those three stocks coming up shortly. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. The Nasdaq today up 0.7% to lead on the day. The S&P up 0.6%. The Dow with a 0.4% gain. And like you said, financials not participating today. The Russell 2000 down about 0.2% on the day. But with the follow-through day on Wednesday, that bullish day of strength in the rally attempt, that signals, hey, we could see more legs in this rally. We got that follow-up today, which was important, and the Nasdaq was able to close above 12,000.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big deal. You can see on the Nasdaq's daily chart last week, it reversed pretty hard in heavy volume when it got close to that 12,000 level. So to get a close above 12,000, that is another step in the right direction here. We had volume yesterday was higher than the prior session. Even today was higher than what we saw on Wednesday. So starting to see some subtle accumulation here. We've got this personal income and spending report Friday that's going to have a very key inflation gauge inside of it. So it's hard to say how the market is going to react to it because inflation and interest rates and the Fed have sort of taken a back burner here. But we'll get inflation data tomorrow, and hopefully the market will respond positively to it. It is expected to fall from the prior month, so continuing this trend of generally cooling inflation.
Yeah, hopefully the cooling inflation provides fuel to the fire for this rally, but we'll have to take it as it comes and act accordingly. Let's also take a look at the S&P 500 extending its gains today after getting above that round number of 4,000 and the 50-day line in Wednesday's session.
Yeah, even at one point today, the S&P 500 came up pretty close to that recent high of 4078, and then it got turned away. But then it kept moving closer. So
Firmed up a bit.
Yeah, and S&P's still has a little bit of overhead supply to work through here, but to see that close above the 50-day moving average Wednesday, and then a nice move further past the 4,000 level, nice little breakout out of a trend line here. I think things are looking pretty good here, and again, we talked even on yesterday's video, we talked about a really strong breakout for Rambus, and a lot of stocks that we saw act strong yesterday follow through today and extended gains even more. So this is really kind of picture perfect, price action. You get a heavy volume breakout for Rambus yesterday, and then volume is really heavy again today, and it follows through. So saw some good follow through in some individual names, and we're happy to see it.
Yeah, more encouraging signs. So, which is very welcome after January was good, but 2022 was so rough. So this kind of action is quite welcome. We'll just have to see how long it'll last. And then before we get to some individual stocks, we just quickly want to take a look at the Dow, which is continuing to make its own improvements, getting close to its 50-day line. And then we have IWM, still definitely a laggard and getting turned away at its 21-day line.
Yeah, and so this, the Russell 2000 really seems to be moving with financial stocks because it is a pretty heavy-weighted sector, financial services in the Russell 2000 ETF. So you can say it reversed lower, and again, just a lot of weakness in financial stocks. So the Russell 2000 had a hard time, keeping up today.
Okay, and now let's take a look at KRE. So it too reversing lower today, but down 2% on the day. So an outsized loss there. They're still holding above recent lows, but it's not really improving meaningfully yet.
Yeah, I think I think it's too early to say that sentiment has improved greatly in the financial sector. But when you look at the way this KRE came down and that really expanding volume when it hit 97.3 million shares, when the ETF was really plunging through the 50 level, you can see downside volume has really quieted down here in recent days. So does that mean the intense selling is over in the financial sector? It doesn't, but at least you're seeing kind of downside volume here quiet down. And at least, again, people thought there would be contagion as a result of those initial problems at SVB Financial, but it's looking, each day that goes on, they could be more and more contained here. So I think that's a positive for the market.
Okay. And let's also take a look at gold. Here's GLD. So, seeing tech stocks and gold moving in the same direction, who would have thought?
Yeah, I mean, and again with GLD, there was a really good volume as it went above its 50-day moving average. It broke out over the 180 level, and then it's just been kind of pulling back in light volume and had another higher volume gain today. So the technicals here, at least in looking at supply and demand and price and volume, you look like have an ETF here that is under some accumulation and still very much in a buy zone here. So you don't have to worry about chasing. And if you believe that the dollar is going to stay weak because the Fed is, pretty much done with their rate hikes, and they could in fact start easing pretty soon. This still could be good news for the weak dollar and gold, which tends to rally when the dollar is weak.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at DV Double Verify in the enterprise software group. It's really been tightening up nicely, tried to clear a mini trend line, but honestly, just waiting for it to get above recent highs is basically at the same level, pretty close there. So good to see another day of tight action here for DV.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a stock that's been kind of dragged down and weighed down by sort of a weakness in the digital ad market because DoubleVerify has basically a software platform for digital media analytics. And so you can see they've got really nice revenue growth in recent quarters. It has been slowing down. I think that 44% decline in earnings to 10 cents of a share was more of an anomaly than anything else. There may have been some special charges in there, but estimates still look pretty good here. And you're right, there was a nice heavy volume move above its moving averages last week. That came in some pretty decent volume, and now it's just been kind of holding on to the bulk of those gains. In fact, if you look at the weekly chart, you'll see how strong the stock was. Last week I think it was up close to 16%, and then you look at its price action this week, it's really not budging and not giving up any ground. So this tells me there's strength and support here. Fundamentals are pretty good, and definitely one of many software stocks to keep an eye on here.
That it is. And next on our list, let's check in on ASML because the chip sector is just chock full of so many stocks to watch right now. So ASML up about 4.5% for the week. We can see an RS line blue dot working on its third week up in a row. And here taking a closer look at the daily chart, even though it's still about 3% away from this left side high right around 700, arguably actionable today, Ken.
Yeah, I think so. And our markets editor Juan Arancibia did a nice profile for ASML because it's in the big cap 20, and so he did. It was sort of the feature stock of the week, and it was on the homepage about just recently, about a half an hour ago. If it's not, you can just do a ticker search for ASML, and Juan did a nice job just kind of talking about some of this company's competitive advantages as a chip equipment firm. They're based in the Netherlands, and it's really is just a really strong stock here. The earnings and sales have been a bit choppy in recent quarters, but the technicals look here good here, and you've got good annual earnings estimates as well. So you'd expect that revenue growth to kind of smooth out and continue to be strong as it goes back into earnings growth mode.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, another one to keep a close watch on in this group now, ranked 5 out of 197. And we also want to take a look at analog devices, which also looked strong today. This is in the same manufacturing group. This is 16 out of 197, but this also has a blue dot, a pretty compelling volume profile here on the weekly, and a nice outside week taking shape for the stock, up 3.5% so far for the week. So it too looked quite actionable here today?
Yeah, growth expected to slow a little bit, but when you look at how quickly the company grew in 2021 and 2022, it was really just growing like gangbusters. So growth is going to slow a little bit, but you can see recent earnings and revenue top notch growth. And you mentioned that relative strength line and new high ground. This again is a good technical setup, a stock that is kind of taking a breather, forming a base, trading sideways, holding support at its 10-week moving average. And to me, I think you got a buy signal today because it, moved above last week's high and volume expanded. So this is, the leadership in the semiconductor stocks fairly broad based, but this is another one, ADI, that could be ready to start a run here.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a great overview. And Ken, given that we are seeing improving conditions on the index level, by and large, maybe not so much in small caps and especially financials and blue chips lagging. But I mean, we are traders of growth stocks. And it seems like those names right now are showing that relative strength, are setting up, are breaking out right when we're seeing the market pick back up as well.
Yeah, it
So
feels like
those
it's
seem like
been
encouraging signs.
it feels like it's been a long time, since we've seen this type of price action. So again, the big wild card will be the inflation report tomorrow, and I mean, it could just be a tame number, and I don't know if the market's going to like a super red hot, but expectations are that it probably is going to cool again. So hopefully the market is going to take it in stride. But you're right, the action in individual stocks definitely looks a lot better. But I can just say that even today for the leaderboard model portfolio, we didn't do anything new today. We did add some exposure yesterday that lifted our exposure to 55%. So we're still relatively lightly invested here because we just want the market to prove itself a little more. But I would say after yesterday and today, things are going quite nicely, and hopefully we get another good response by the market tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to see what tomorrow brings. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. And for those of you joining us live, I do want to apologize for the technical difficulties that delayed our show today. Thanks for your patience and for watching, as always. So we will see you tomorrow morning on IBD Live, and we hope you join us there, investors.com/IBD Live, for the details, where we will be joined by John Kosar of Asbury Research. He's got what he calls the Asbury Six. It's 6 indicators that he's looking at for market health, where there's strength in the market. So looking forward to digging into all of that with him tomorrow and taking a look at the sectors and tickers on his radar. So we will see you then, and we'll also see you right back here tomorrow at the close to round out the week. See you then.